What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Mile High Hockey. Mike and Will with you as always. Hopefully you heard us on 104.3 The Fan this morning. We did 4 hours together, and now...
I'm sick of them.
I know, I was going to say. We spending a lot of time together on this Thursday. Mike, let's start with the question that I posed here on YouTube. Can Nathan MacKinnon win back-to-back NHL MVPs? Hasn't been done since Alex Ovechkin, 2007, 2008, and 2008, 2009. And what's curious to me about this, he's leading the league in points. There was a survey on NHL.com recently where MacKinnon was the favorite for the Hart Trophy. But then you look at the odds makers, and Connor Hellebuck, the goaltender from the Winnipeg Jets, is the favorite with MacKinnon at second. It's rare to see goalies as MVPs as well. Where do you handicap this race right now, and what would the significance be of Nathan MacKinnon winning back-to-back MVPs?
Well, at the risk of talking about MacKinnon winning an MVP, for some reason, some of you out there, and some of you as Nugget fans, same thing, don't like me spending time talking about the MVP candidacies of Nikola Jokic and Nathan MacKinnon, that I should be more focused on the team goals. Of course, championships matter most, but when you're talking about creating a legacy that stands the test of time, that is looked back upon decades from now, let's be honest, if you can start stacking MVPs, and especially back-to-back MVPs, that goes a long way towards really defining a legacy. And that does matter to me. Maybe it doesn't matter as much to folks out there, but it does matter to me. And in this case, Nathan MacKinnon, to me, is a slam dunk for a second straight MVP. And I find it annoying that for a while it was him and Leon Draisaitl that were regarded as the two top favorites. And then when Draisaitl got hurt, oh, okay, he kind of slipped back, so that leaves MacKinnon alone, right? No, here comes Connor Hellebuck all of a sudden with better odds. And that's irritating to me for that reason, and also the idea it's a goaltender. Goaltenders have their reward with the Vezina. And even if you do want to say, well, it's happened before where a goaltender also wins the MVP, okay, I get it. But in order for that to be the case, Will, it's got to be an unbelievable season that the goaltender's putting together. Hellebuck's been very good, don't get me wrong, and he should be a slam dunk winner for the Vezina. But has he been so great that it warrants both? No.
No, I don't think so. He's not in the conversation with some of the all-time great Patrick Waugh seasons or Martin Brodeur or Dominic Hasek. He's very good, but I'm with you. It does feel like there's this notion starting to build that we don't want to give Nathan MacKinnon back-to-back MVPs. And some might say that's voter fatigue. Well, guess what? I don't care. I want it to go to the best player. We saw Nikola Jokic in the NBA perhaps get robbed of an MVP at one point for that same reason. It would be a real shame, especially because MacKinnon, like, let's go to the Detroit game on Tuesday night. I mean, Mike.
Oh, what a shift.
He had a minute 53 shift. Let's go through the things that happened on this. So he breaks his stick, has to go back to the bench to get a new twig. That's a big lap. Comes back, puck's going to him, and it hits the broken stick on the ground to go all the way down the ice. Now here comes MacKinnon back in. Shot gets blocked. What do you know? Our old friend JT Compher has a breakaway for the Red Wings. What's MacKinnon do? I don't want your breakaway. Chases him down full speed. Avs come back the other way. We're a minute 40 into this power play. Everyone has changed except for Nathan MacKinnon. And eventually a Jonathan Drouin one-timer bounces right to MacKinnon on the other side, and he scores the most nonchalant NHL goal you'll ever see.
You used the perfect, you said nonchalant. I almost thought it was like disgust. Like, fine, there, done, goal. Move on.
What about exhaustion?
Yeah, he was definitely exhausted too.
Yeah.
But it was the most nonchalant, almost like just goal. Yay. You know,
no celebration whatsoever. Yeah.
It was like, I mean, you talk about making the routine look routine. That was a great example. But real quick about the whole idea about MacKinnon too, is that, you know, I get in the NBA. The NBA is weird, and I think there's a real sense of it's somebody else's turn. I think that's what we're seeing in the NBA. Plus, there also is like, well, you know, does Nikola Jokic fit the exact profile of maybe the NBA star that we want to promote, right? Or maybe there are other guys that we want to promote. Nathan MacKinnon, he first of all, he plays for an Avalanche team. The Avalanche, whatever you may say about the Denver Nuggets being kind of a flyover market in the NBA, that's not the case when it comes to Colorado, Denver, and the NHL. And I would think that for, when you look at hockey people looking at what MacKinnon does and how MacKinnon's game has grown over the course of the years to the point where he's become one of the best playmakers out there,
right,
besides being a lethal scorer, I would think that his candidacy for a second straight MVP would be celebrated rather than looking for an excuse to find somebody else.
Yeah, and the numbers back it up. I mean, he extended his home point streak to a ridiculous 22 games the other night. He's got 38 points, 14 goals, and 24 assists in those 22 games. And, oh, by the way, don't forget he had a 35-game home point streak last year. All right, moving on. The Avalanche look like they're locked in, Mike, with the Stars. Collision course for a round one playoff matchup. And this is so silly to me because the Stars have the second best odds to win the Cup. The Avs have the third best odds. This NHL playoff format is a disaster because you've got two teams that should be battling in the Western Conference Final, and one of them is going to be on a beach by March 1st or May 1st.
It's such a transparent attempt by the NHL to build rivalries. Well, at some point in your quest to build rivalries, you end up jamming the same opponents down fans' throats so much that they grow tired of seeing that team. We saw it in baseball not long ago where they had every team play their division opponent 19 times. It got to the point where fans were like, enough. And even now, I think that ask fans in Edmonton or L.A. the prospects of them meeting up in the playoffs for the fourth straight year. The idea, not only the overkill nature of it, but in this case, you do have the understanding that two of you. I have no doubt that whoever wins that Avalanche Dallas series is going to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Wow, I don't disagree, but it's crazy that one team's done and the other's maybe going to hoist the trophy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And most times you lose a first round playoff series, you're like, oh man, we got to go back. We got to rethink our entire way of what we're doing, coaching, all that kind of stuff. Where really, whoever loses this first round series, their front office can say, yeah, we lost in the first round, but we're not that far away. We don't have to blow this up. It's a weird thing, and the NHL needs to change it, but they're not going to change it. But the Avalanche-Kings matchup that we're getting ready to watch, if they were doing the old 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, this would have been a first-round playoff matchup, and that makes more sense.
Yeah, that feels like a better 4-5 matchup for sure as the standings are at right now. And the Avs and the Stars, 5 points right now. We'll see if Colorado
game in hand for Dallas
can catch them, but remember, the road team won 5 of the 6 games in the playoff series last year. I know fans that spent hundreds of dollars on tickets don't want to hear that, but I'm not so sure home ice advantage is that critical, Mike. Yep. The stats back it up. It's like 52% of the time the home team wins. We're talking a coin flip here. All right, final thoughts on the Gabriel Landeskog doc. Mike has dove into a couple episodes, couple things he wants to share with us. Mike, what are you making from the captain as this feels like it's building toward the return, particularly with 5 episodes? And, oh, by the way, the 5th episode's coming out right before the playoffs start.
Real quick, I've found it fascinating. I got to catch up to the 3rd one, but watching the first 2 ones, it's been a real reveal behind the curtain. I think as sports fans, I own this, is that a lot of times when an athlete gets hurt, they become kind of out of sight, out of mind for me. And it's just like, all right, you got a sprained knee, I'll see you in 2 weeks. You got a torn ACL, I'll see you in 8 months. You got a Tommy John, I'll see you next year. And it's you almost stop thinking about the athlete as a person at that point. And this has been so interesting in going behind and seeing what it's like for an athlete. And even though you're a famous athlete and you live the life and you've made the money and you've won a Stanley Cup, you see the human side of it, and you still see the pain, the uncertainty, the fear, the anxiety. And I think what makes this documentary even more interesting, Will, is that you're watching Gabe go through all this with the understanding that I don't know how this is going to work out, because it's not like an ACL or where there's plenty of evidence of other athletes who've come back from this. What I'm doing is kind of uncharted.
It's more experimental.
It's more experimental. And because there's no other history of a hockey player coming back from it, all that pain and all that uncertainty and all the setbacks, it's more dramatic because there is no template to follow. And so it's been a real interesting watch. And it makes me and anybody who watches it, I think, root even harder for Gabe to be able to pull off this comeback.
Yeah, we're all hoping for that Gabe Landeskog happy ending and a return round 1, game 1 against likely the Dallas Stars. All right, Mike Diaz will finish out this homestand on Thursday, Saturday, and Monday. You and I will have plenty to talk about on Tuesday, and we'll see you then on Mile High Hockey.